Good day, St. Louis Obispo Country Club members. My name is Mike Valdez. I'm the Director of Instruction here at the Country Club. I'm here with Paul Barr, our Director of Agronomy, and also Lance Parker, who is our USGA rules official. And we're going to be going over the new drop zones that we have here on hole number 14, directly behind us and over to our right. All right, so Paul is going to kind of describe the new drop zone that we have here on 14 along with our previous drop zone that we have over on the right side next to the water pump.
Yeah, so we just new this year, we put in a drop zone over on the left-hand side by the pump station, and we have one over here on the right, which is brand new. We're talking about opening this one up over here on the right. We've exhausted the new one, or the original one, and we've been tasked with trying to come up with square footage so that not just in the summertime when we have good recovery in turf, but then also in the wintertime with all moving that needle of come out and play in between storms and more rounds in the wintertime, is having a drop zone area that will accommodate all that play. And so we put one on the left and one on the right, and what we were going for was a level surface that was not so much more about a consistent turf, but we can talk more about what would be expectations for height of cut in turf, but not for it to be like a T-top. It's more so just to be providing a more consistent than rough conditions for someone to drop their ball in these zones. But what we're trying to figure out now is, as play goes on, and why we've invited Lance here too, is to talk about how we let these areas recover and identify which one we are playing from. And so I leave that to you, gentlemen.
So now, part of the reason why Lance is here is to really go over the rules of golf and how we do this correctly with using the drop zones and where we play from. So we have the two different drop zones. What we're trying to encompass really is how to drop the ball correctly in these zones. Is that correct?
That's correct, Mike. And I appreciate you coming out because we do have two specific areas here that Paul's developed with his crew. And we're going to be using both areas as drop zones, but only one at any one time. So we have to now distinguish the other one. So today, Paul has the drop zone over on the left-hand side. What is this right-hand area? We are going to be declaring the non-used area outside the drop zone as a no-play zone. And there's very specific rules regarding a no-play zone. If you find your ball in there, you're not allowed to play. You get free relief from it like any other obstruction, but it's a no-play zone. You can't play from that area. So depending on where the actual drop zone is, and we'll talk about that in just a bit, anything outside that is going to be a no-play zone. So you don't get to choose, oh, I like the one on the right when the drop zone's on the left, or vice versa.
Right. So like you had stated before, say if the drop zone is over on the left-hand side, I hit an errant tee shot, it hits the tree, comes down to rest in that zone, I'm going to take nearest point of relief, no penalty, because that is deemed a no-play zone.
That is correct. So if, like Mike says, if your ball happens to be in here, you're not allowed to play from here. You're not allowed to drop in here to play from here. You would take relief outside. And there will be some distinguishing so you know when your ball is in the no-play zone and when your ball is out of the no-play zone. So players coming down, if you unfortunately had hit it in the penalty area and you want to utilize the drop zone, look for the drop zone sign and you'll see a white painted area which distinguishes that is your drop zone for that day.
Okay, so now we're going to kind of go over how to use the drop zone, but as you can see, this is a previous drop zone circle. We are not using that one. We are using this drop zone circle, which is indicated by the drop zone sign.
So that's perfect, Mike. As an additional option, we as a club has decided to add a drop zone to a penalty area here on 14. So if your ball does go in the penalty area, you still have your original two options where you could go back, play where you last played, most likely the tee, keep the point where it last crossed the yellow line between the flag and go back on a line as far as you want. Or as an easy option, we developed a drop zone. And as Mike pointed out, we have an old drop zone here. Doesn't have a sign, so we know that's not the drop zone. Here is our white circle here. And really, the only requirement to utilize the drop zone is the ball needs to land and stay in the drop zone. That's all. That's the only requirement. You don't have to stand in the drop zone. Just land and stay in the drop zone and you're good to go.
So my stance could be outside of the drop zone, but as long as my golf ball is in that zone, I am okay.
And you don't have to stand in the drop zone.
Okay.
You could stand outside and drop.
Okay.
And you fulfilled the requirement. Now, getting back to the no play zone, since we are creating a no play zone on these dropping areas, if you find your ball here, you'd be in a no play zone and you'd have to take free relief from here. You couldn't play from here.
Okay.
The only area you could play from in this area is the drop zone.
Well, Lance, thank you very much for your time coming out today and talking about how do we utilize these drop zones correctly and how to do them correctly. And again, thank you very much, and stay tuned for the next video as far as golf instruction or rules of golf or agronomy.